Namaste. I hope you've been enjoying our series on Swami Sampath. Swami meaning leader, Sampath meaning endowed with the excellences of. In other words, Swami Sampath refers to those competencies, if you will, which lead to the excellence of the leader. And we've covered so many of them earlier. They've been touched upon by different people, giving you different situations, giving you examples and illustrations. And just imagine about this, that nearly 3,000 years ago, here is Acharya Chanakya actually defining for us all the qualities a leader needs to have. So we'll look at two more of them today. We'll look at the meaning as it originally meant, and then look at how does it apply today. And then perhaps we'll also give you a question to introspect with. Right? Are you ready? Let's go. The next quality of Swami Sampath, the next guna, is called Dandanaya. Danda refers to army. Danda refers to all the soldiers. Danda refers to the forces of the kingdom. And Dandanaya refers to the ability to lead these forces into war, or maybe just on a mission. So every Swami, every leader in those days, even if you were not the Senapati, the commander who led the soldiers into war or on a mission, should have the ability to be the supreme commander. Just the way today the president is the supreme commander of the forces. But in those days, you had to have the ability to go into the battlefield or go into your mission, to go and actually lead your forces. So how do we think of it today? You got it, the ability to lead from the front. So whether it is favorable times or whether it's a crisis, the leader should have the ability to be the one right in front over there. Even if it is a lot of risk apparently, because it may be a first time. Why? The answer is simple. Because the forces get inspired by what the leader does, isn't it? And therefore, you may have heard this, that in olden times, one of the strategies of armies across the world was to first target the commander, or very often the king, if the king was there on the battlefield, to target that commander or king and kill that person. Because more often than not, when that was done, it broke the backs of the forces and it was easy to defeat them. So you can see that it may not be just the martial skills of the leader, but just the presence. The presence makes a big difference, and that's what Chanakya is talking about. Today's leader's presence should be such that it should influence everybody, inspire everybody to follow him or her. Right? You can call it, they are willing to walk on water should the leader want them to. That's the kind of quality that Dandanaya speaks of. All right, so now this is one quality for you. Now I want to ask you this question. You as a leader, are you the one who manages your people, or are you the one that inspires people? I'll repeat that. Are you the one who manages your people, or are you the one who inspires people? Are people happy wherever you go, or are people happy whenever you go? This is very important. So do you bring inspiration to your people? Now let's go to the next one. Now, this is very unique, and I'm sure you will not find this in any Western book of management, or perhaps even book of martial sciences. And this says, Upakara, ApaKara, drushta, pratikara. I repeat, Upakara, ApaKara, drushta, pratikari. Okay, now what does this mean? Pratikari, being able to give back, being able to respond back, being able to perhaps even retaliate. Drushta, depending on whether it is Upakara or ApaKara. It's very interesting. Upakara means when someone else actually does you a favor. I repeat that. Upakara means when someone does you a favor. For example, maybe there is another king in those times who actually saved your life, or maybe allowed you to make a retreat, escape with your forces, or maybe just delayed the action or the attack of the invaders. Now, this is doing a favor. ApaKara, the exact opposite of that, who actually causes harm. So, especially perform some action that hastens the damage that is inflicted on you or your forces. That is ApaKara. So Upakara, favor, ApaKara, harm. drushta, pratikari, meaning as was the action that is done to you and your kingdom, so should be your response towards them. How interesting is this? In other words, if another king has done a favor to you, you need to pay it back. If another king has caused harm to you, remember, you are only the representative of that kingdom, of that nation. That too you need to give back. That's why you see when India spoke about surgical attacks, on one hand you may say, hey, what is the need for surgical attacks? You know, India stands for peace. But somebody has threatened your security. Someone has threatened your sovereignty. So you may not want a full-fledged war. It's expensive and it can cause extensive damage and can go on for a long time. But you must pay back in the same coin. However, if someone has done you a favor, again, you must pay back in the same coin. Let's say if Japan has, for example, helped us with their bullet train technology, we will pay them back also in a certain way. That time will come. You get the idea? Now, how does this apply today? As a leader, the ability to gauge which organization or individual has caused benefit to you and your organization. Remember, the cause is also always of the organization and not you as an individual. So if there's an individual or another organization that has benefited you, and probably unexpectedly, you need to ensure that you return the favor. On the other hand, if someone has harmed your interest, you need to do that as well. But there is one small caveat over here. I said retaliation earlier, but retaliation does not mean that if you are done a favor towards, or if you are done some harm, you need to pay back immediately. No. So you need to pick a timing and a place of your choice. You need to pick a place and a timing of your choice. So as a leader, how do I ensure that whatever behavior, whatever approach, whatever kind of treatment that I have been offered, that has been given to me by another organization or its leader or its key people, I should ensure that I too return the same, but at a time and a place which is suitable. Isn't this beautiful? Now, here is the question for you with which you need to introspect. As a leader, am I continuously aware and am I noting how other people, organizations have been useful to me, beneficial to me, done me a favor? That's the first part of the question. Second part of the question, with that awareness, how do I return back the favors? The next question is, am I also aware of how sometimes individual or groups or an organization have actually made efforts and attempts to run me down or put me down or push me back? And how, as a representation of the organization, as a leader, I am also not letting this just be and not letting others walk over me, and also ensure that this too is returned. Okay, in English, we have a term, it is called requite. All right, I repeat the term. In English, we have a term and it is called the ability to requite, R-E-Q-U-I-T-E. So are you able to requite obligations? Are you able to requite injury or harm? That too in a manner that is appropriate, that is dignified. All right. You should fall below your standards or your levels. Did you notice how our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar addressed the press? And especially when he was under great pressure from the press on our relations with Russia, he answered them very beautifully. But I leave it to you to go and find out and listen to him, how he responded to US, right? How he responded to the press, because he knows how to do it in a polite and dignified manner, which is worthy of us as a nation. We don't want to harm anyone. We don't want to insult anyone. But yet, when others are trying to put us down in a certain way, we need to also be able to respond in the same way. So that's it for now, dear friends. Think about these two guna. I'll repeat them for you. Dandanaya, the ability to lead your forces. And Upakara, ApaKara, yo drushta, pratikari. Being able to requite or being able to respond to obligations and favor, to injury or harm in the manner that is appropriate, worthy, and dignified. That's it for now. Dhanyavad. Bye. Continue to follow this series and all the best to you. Bye-bye.